Hey guys, Mrs. Gripka here again with another video book talk. Today I want to tell you about a great book I just finished called Belle Teal by Anne M. Martin. And Anne M. Martin wrote all the Babysitter Club books, which are less popular today, but back when I was a kid they were a big deal, and I read all of them. I love those Babysitter Club books, so I always like to read other things that Anne M. Martin has written. I really liked A Dog's Life, for example. But this one was different from the other stuff. It's about a girl named Belle Teal living in the 1960s, and she lives in a very small rural town way out in the country, in the hills, as she describes it. They never tell you exactly where in the United States that is, but it's somewhere very rural. They have dirt roads. It's the 1960s, and her family doesn't have a television, as they weren't that common, I guess, back then. Her family doesn't even have a telephone. It means they don't have a whole lot of money. It's just her and her mother and her grandmother. Her father died when she was a baby, when she was 1 year old. And her mother works a whole bunch of different jobs, never one for very long. She'll be a maid for a little while and a waitress for a little while, and she always quits. She's not into continuity, so they don't have a ton of money. But that's okay with Belle Teal because she loves her family, she loves her life, and especially she loves writing in her journal. She writes in her journal through this whole book about all her experiences. And she has quite a few experiences. It's a very adventurous time for Belle Teal. A lot of things are happening. First of all, her grandmother, Gran, as she calls her, is starting to be very forgetful. And if any of you have experiences with family members that maybe have Alzheimer's disease or just older people in your family getting a little bit forgetful, you'll relate to Belle Teal because she has to adjust to her grandmother going from this wise, caring person who takes care of her to all of a sudden she has to be the one to help take care of her grandmother more as her grandmother gets more and more forgetful. It's kind of sad. Um, but on the other hand, there are good things in Belle Teal's life too. She gets to be in Miss Casey's class at school in fifth grade. And she's been waiting to be in Miss Casey's class for years. She loves Miss Casey. She's the young, pretty teacher. She's super nice. All her students love her. And so she and her friend Clarice are super excited to be in her class. Unfortunately, when they get to school on the first day, they find there's a new student there named Vanessa Mathers, which Belle Teal starts calling her HRH for Her Royal Highness because Vanessa's kind of a princess. She always has a lot of money and really nice clothes, and she's kind of snooty, and she makes fun of Belle Teal because her clothes are kind of homemade, and Belle Teal's a little bit chunky, and so Vanessa makes oinking sounds at her, but Belle Teal really takes it in stride. She responds really well to Vanessa in a way that I wish I could see more students respond to teasing and bullying, and so it's worth reading the book just to see how she does that. That was what made me really like Belle Teal. But the big problem in the book that Belle Teal faces is that her school is being desegregated this year. So if you don't know, and I think most of you do know, you're pretty with it, but there used to be a policy where African American students went to one school and white students went to another school, usually a nicer school. Okay, but in the 1960s, the law was changed to say that's not right, and they were going to put all of the students in the same school together, which Belle Teal has no problem with it. Neither does her friend Clarice's family. Clarice's father says, I think really well put, he says, they're all children. They're all just children. So other people, though, really do have a problem with it. In fact, on the first day of school, there are parents picketing, meaning they have signs they're holding up and they're marching in front of the school, and when the African American students arrive, they shout at them, and at one point, one of the African American boys even gets spit on by a parent. So, it's a big issue that year. And then it turns out that one of the boys is in her class, one of the African American boys. His name is Daryl, and he's very clearly just a very shy, quiet, very sweet boy. And Belle Teal feels sorry for him because a lot of the students are being really mean to him, like that Princess Vanessa I told you about. She scoots her chair way over away from him so she doesn't have to sit near him. And one of the boys that actually Belle Teal is kind of friends with wipes off his arm, like, ew, you got cooties on me just from walking past me, and people are just really mean to this boy. And eventually Belle Teal becomes friends with him, and you're really glad to see that. Belle Teal is a sweet girl. She makes good decisions all through this book. But in the end, she kind of has to choose between a couple of her friends that are still being really mean to Daryl versus being friends with Daryl himself. And of course, she wants to stand by Daryl. It all comes to a head when they have a Christmas pageant, and Daryl is cast as one of the wise men, the three wise men, and some people are really upset about it. So to see how Belle Teal helps overcome these prejudices of desegregation, and how she gets along with all of her friends and gets along with her new family situation and adjusts to all these changes and questions in her life. Read Belle Teal. Do. She's really sweet. By Anne M. Martin.